Let's start with Cade Cunningham, because Cade Cunningham had a very interesting night, an incredibly positive night, first and foremost. I don't think you can say it was anything other than just an awesome, awesome performance from Cade. He goes for 20 points, 18 assists. That's a career high. 11 rebounds, goes 7 of 17 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. Only has 4 turnovers in a game where he just really had to handle the ball the entire game, basically. It felt like he was the player who was responsible for everything for Detroit tonight. And in part, that was because Jaden Ivey didn't play in this game. He has like a little left knee thing that I guess he's dealing with right now. But you even just kind of look across the board here. Tim Hardaway Jr. goes 5 for 11. He wasn't anywhere near that until overtime. We'll get to that at some point. Malik Beasley has 28. He drills 7 threes. He was really the only guy I felt like that stepped up on the offensive end. Asar Thompson had 19 points and 9 rebounds, but one thing I do kind of want to bring up is that I'll kind of show you the clip from late in that game where Cade gets fouled and it ends up going to overtime. I think that he gets fouled, maybe gets them up 3, and then the Heat come down and make a shot. But the Pistons really need to do a better job of figuring out how they're going to space when Asar is out there on the court. It feels exceptionally difficult, and I know this is something Bryce Simon has talked about quite a bit. Shout out to Bryce, good friend of the program, obviously. I will talk to Bryce again on Friday, and we'll probably talk about the Pistons because we often do. It feels difficult to have Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson out on the court in closing situations all that often, especially if you're not going to move them around and be able to just have him cut or have him be the screener or have him like play in some sort of like off-ball screening action, right? If you're not going to do that, you can't just sit him in the corner in the dunker spot. That was the thing we talked about with the Houston game with the Warriors in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. It's what we talked about with Andre Jackson and the Milwaukee Bucks in the quarterfinals of the NBL Cup or the NBA Cup. You really need to have a plan for these guys. And a big reason why the Miami Heat were able to come back from, I believe it was 107 to 89 with 8 minutes left in this game, was that they didn't have a great plan for what to do with Asar Thompson. So Jimmy Butler guarded Asar Thompson, or Drew Smith, somebody else, a good defender on Miami, would guard Asar. And then as soon as Cade got anywhere near a paint touch, got to the elbow, wherever, they would just double and swarm on Cade every single time. And it completely bogged down everything that Detroit did on offense. And I'll show a perfect example of that kind of at the end of this. But the Pistons really need to figure out an answer in regard to how they're going to space with Asar. Maybe it's you just play super switchable and you end up with, you know, Asar playing like a pseudo center, or you play Isaiah Stewart mostly late in games at the center position. And you hope that Isaiah knocks down threes whenever he hits a kick out, right? It's hard because I know that Asar has made like a semi-reasonable number of threes to start his season to this point. If you look at the numbers, I believe he's at, you know, he was at 30% coming into this game tonight. And he, I think, went 1 of 3 from 3 in this game. But teams just don't care if he stays open. Like that's it at the end of the day. Like teams are going to leave him open. They don't trust that he's going to make shots. It's incumbent upon Asar to prove that. But the Pistons need to find an answer to that while he's still developing his game, because his defense is awesome. His ability to get out in transition and be a running partner with Cade is enormous. Like this dude is a real player, I think, for the Pistons. He's a valuable piece for them. They just need a better plan with him, I think, in regard to screening, in regard to maybe use him as like a short roller, use him to flash to the middle, you use him, you know, as an off-ball screener. There are a lot of different ways that you can do this because he can pass as well. He's one of these off-ball players that can do some things at a really high level. And obviously he's a fantastic defender that they desperately want on the court at all times. So finding a better plan offensively is going to be the key for them, in my opinion, here moving forward. But let's talk about Cade. So I've really wanted to focus on the passing for Cade tonight because I think that what he has done as a passer and playmaker this year has just been really, really high level. Let's dive in. Let's talk through Cade's passing on his 18 assist night that sets a career high. I love to watch it. Love to see it. Let's go. Second possession of the game for the Pistons here, I believe. Just an empty side ball screen, right? Look who's setting the screen. Beautiful. This is what we want. He's going to hit Asar, roll into the rim. Great work by Bam there to stand him up. He gets it out to Cade. Cade sees that little angle in the driving direction, and then he's going to spot Tim Hardaway Jr. just wide open from three here. Or is that might be Beasley, actually, but it is Beasley. But what kind of makes this play happen a little bit is Duren rim running here. And I think as soon as Cade sees that Haywood Highsmith has dug down on his handle, he knows that he's going to kick this out, because even if Duncan Robinson X's out here, Beasley is going to be able to shoot this ball right back down to Tim Hardaway Jr., and that's going to be a wide open three at that point, especially because you hope that Duren is going to be able to seal Duncan Robinson on the X out. Perfect play here. Beautiful pass fake. That's Hero. He gets Hero going all the way out. It's perfect. This is beautiful from Cade Cunningham. Next. Pistons love to do this. They love to get Cade. Empty side of the court, posting up. They do it early in this one. Sees the mismatch on Hero. They send the double. Cade just times this perfectly as soon as the double comes. Going to shoot this ball right out. This time it is Tim Hardaway Jr. Drills it. Simple, easy. This one I grabbed because this is, I believe, Drew Smith, right? Drew Smith's been like just one of the coolest stories in the NBA this season, point blank. This guy, like, if I remember correctly, had like a ton of knee surgeries in college, and that's why he goes undrafted. But last year, I think he like slipped on a piece of paper on the sideline, ended up missing the season because he hurt his ankle or knee. I can't remember which one, but one of those guys that's on the fringes of the league and really battled and scratched and clawed his way to get back. And he's back, and he's been really good. And he, throughout this game, he pressured the hell out of Cade Cunningham, guys. He was fantastic, just forcing tough spots. They really did a great job trying to get Drew off of Cade, I felt like. This one, what are we seeing with Cade, though? So dribble handoff into like what is supposed to be like a flare kind of thing here. But what I like about this is that you get this exchange on the backside where Asar filters to the corner, Beasley pops up. What I would like to see them do personally is, if you know that this is coming, and this is something Asar will learn to do as he gets, and this is to my point on using him as a screener and using him off the ball, right? As he gets to be 24, 25 years old. My guess is that he knows that coming off of this flare, if we're going to have Beasley come up here and we're going to run an exchange, actually go set a screen. Just go set the screen for Beasley and get him away from Hero, right? Instead of going behind him. It ends up working out. Beasley again sends Hero flying. Perfect timing from Cade. But again, like, these are little things that, like, within the flow of the offense, Cade does a great job here drawing Drew Smith into this play. It's a decent screen there. Hawkes gets clipped. And as soon as he sees Drew have to step forward, he knows that he's going to be able to get Beasley there. So here, now we've just got Miami, a really good defensive team, right? Top 10 defense in the league. Hawkes stays attached here. Gets back in front of Cade. And again, what Cade has become good at, and this is something that he still turns the ball over a little too much, right? Still turns the ball over just a little too much. But this is one where, you know, in his rookie year and his sophomore year, this is an automatic turnover for Cade. As soon as his man would have dug in all those years where they had no spacing, and by the way, look, like, we're not going to sit here and say that the spacing is exactly good for the Pistons, because look at Haywood Highsmith here, just completely cutting off this pass. Ron Holland, non-shooter in the corner, just wide open. Nothing you can do about that. But look at the way he tucks this. He tucks it like a football here and stops the turnover from happening. I believe that's Rozier. He's done a better job of being able to make sure that those turnovers right around the elbow, those ball handling turnovers that he often would commit, he does a great job getting that ball in like a running back, and then still being able to have the wherewithal to kick it out as a passer. Some guys, once they tuck it like that, it's a little bit difficult for them to get the ball out on a kick out. Cade does a good job here getting the ball out on a kick out. Open three for Tim Hardaway. Drills it. Is that Tim Hardaway or Beasley? That might have been Beasley again. No, that was Hardaway that time. Okay. Next. Now we're just out in transition. I grabbed this one because it'll be critical later once we get to overtime. I just love the vision. I love the hit ahead pass here. You can literally just see his eyes up, right? He's trying to count where all of the defenders are for the Heat. He's got 4 here. He's got a trailer here. He's seeing all of that. He's counting defenders. He's trying to figure out, okay, where are we overloaded to where the Heat are going to struggle to be able to get this here. So I think he sees that Haywood Highsmith has his back turned here and is probably going to be the one to pick him up at the end of the day. And that he sees that, is that whoever that is? I can't tell because the screen's a little too blurry. The Heat are overloaded on this side because they've got 2 defenders, because Highsmith is coming here to guard Cade for 1 body. That means if he looks over to his left, he's probably going to have an open player here. So here, he takes that little extra dribble, hits Fontecchio. Fontecchio's able to get the shot up early. It's perfect. So here, rebound. Grab this just because it's a perfect lob, and because I wanted to show, even though I have concerns about the way they use Asar Thompson in half-court settings, he is a fantastic running partner for Cade Cunningham. He is a fantastic, fantastic guy to be able to play in situations like this, to be able to get out and get easy buckets with Cade. Cade will find these guys. Great lob, great catch, great finish from Asar there. Now another grab and go in the second quarter. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So here, because Cade gets Highsmith kind of on his hip here, I believe that is Drew Smith again, has to kind of step up. Because he has to step up, Jimmy has to make sure that he's covering the guy 1 pass away. Holland recognizes that and just immediately makes a beeline to the basket. Really, really sharp from Holland to recognize here, okay, because Cade now has 2 on the ball, Jimmy is here, I've got a wide open lane here. And then Cade, nice little slick look away, right? You can see him kind of looking this direction to Beasley here. Manipulates it with his eyes, hits Holland on the backside. Perfect. Now we've got Cade again. Just does a good job opening up the lane here. Catches. He has multiple options. Just depends on where the defenders go. Definitely want to be able to hit Asar, who does a great job running the court, sprinting out. Does a fantastic job here. Jumping, getting them in the air, having the hang time, having the creativity to throw that little wrap around as well. Drills it. Perfect again. Down screen here for Cade to get into a ball screen. Highsmith gets clipped again. Again, you still see these little moments where Cade will kind of lose track of the ball in the mid-range. That's the thing that he needs to clean up more than anything else. Highsmith recovers. Cade does a nice job just stepping through here, using his pivot, using the fact that he has two steps to be able to potentially go up for a little floater. Goes up with the left hand. It's not off of a live dribble, but it's similar. This is where Cade's size and his hand size particularly comes into play, where he can really just use his hands to keep that ball in the air and then be able to make a decision based on what Bam does here. He makes the decision as soon as Bam jumps, gets the ball to Duren, easy bucket. This one's just like pristine eye manipulation. He's going to come off of this little double drag-ish kind of thing here. Hardaway. Asar, who are you? I don't know who that is. Is the second screener there? It's Duren. I'm an idiot. So Duren, real rim runner, has real gravity. He has Adebayo, or he has Haywood Highsmith leveraged here. Jimmy has to tag. You can literally see Cade's eyes the whole time looking. Might be someone saying in the comments that might be Paul Reed. Might be Paul Reed. It is Paul Reed. But he's looking the whole time at the roller here. And then what does he do? Zips this ball to the corner. Off the hop, Beasley drills it. Perfect. So here, Cade. Perfect again. Draws the defenders expertly here. Let's get all the way back. So he's got the mismatch. He recognizes, all right, I've got Rozier here. I should be able to drive. Just look at him. He physically just overpowers Rozier. Once he does that, you've got Hero, who kind of steps in to help here. You've got Bam, who kind of steps up here to be available. But more importantly, you have Haywood Highsmith, who again is kind of just leaving Asar Thompson here. And they're assuming that they're going to be able to rotate around with Bam particularly. But it doesn't matter. Asar cuts, perfectly timed cut. Right at the basket. Easy dunk, easy finish. With Robin Hood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Now, the resourceful individual with Robin Hood Gold can earn a very liberal 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth for just $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific product disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. My Doer jeans are truly my favorite piece of clothing that I own right now. They sent me out a pair of jeans and they are fantastic. I've been wearing these things everywhere that I can whenever I go out of the house. They are so comfortable. They look great. They feel great. They're stylish. They're versatile. You can wear them in a lot of different situations. They are fantastic, fantastic jeans. Doer is built for doing with styles of stretch performance denim and lifestyle apparel for everyone in every season. Doer has you covered for the colder winter months with fabrics like a fireside denim, which is interwoven with fleece for warmth without too much bulk. Plus, Doer's clothes are sustainably crafted to last. They're going to be a staple in my closet for years. I am going to try and get them to send me more clothes out, in all honesty, because they have been so good. I love my Doers, and I'm sure you will too. Check out Doer's flagship stores in LA or Denver, or shop online at shopdoer.com/game theory. That's shopduer.com/game theory. Right now, my listeners are going to get 20% off your first purchase when you use that exclusive URL. Don't wait. Get 20% off at shopdoer.com/game theory. Cade. This one's just a little too easy defensively from Miami, right? They're in a zone here. How you can tell that they're in a zone is that Duncan is really guarding nobody here. Duren does a good job clipping Drew Smith. Duncan has to be here, basically. He can't really go and help, because if he goes to help, this ball's just immediately going to the corner. So really, Duncan just kind of has to shoot to the corner as it is and let Bam handle this. Duncan's in the right there. That's not a shot at Duncan. Like, Duncan is running the scheme defensively. But the problem is that if Drew just gets beat at the point of attack here with that screen, it's just really hard. Cade does a good job drawing Bam to jump here and throwing the lob up to Duren. Duren ends up bringing it down, gets the foul call, finishes at the rim. And now we're in overtime. We're not going to show any of the Miami comeback because that'd be bad for Pistons fans. This is now, I believe, a 16-point game after Duren made this free throw. It gets up to 107-89, and Miami just comes back, right? And we'll show one play as to why. But this one, again, Cade, just early hit ahead, right? Simple. That's the first one. Probably the least, likely assist that you're going to get in the day, or like the least impressive one at least, but he drills it. This one, Cade, again, grab and go on the glass. What are we looking at here? Comes down. Now he's got the switch. Why does he get the switch? A smart early screen here from Tim Hardaway Jr., and then the leak out. So now he's got Duncan on him. All due respect to Duncan Robinson, it's a mismatch. What I love here again is the way that Cade gathers right at that elbow extended area. After Rozier helps. I am guessing based off of the way that Miami defended throughout the game, that while this is a same side help from Rozier, I am guessing that this is what Miami wanted. I'm guessing that Rozier is not in the wrong here. Typically, you do not want to help same side, but based off of the way that Miami tried to double guys, basically, especially with Ron Holland there in the corner, I would guess that Rozier is supposed to help here and Jimmy is just supposed to get the X out, or the first part of the X out. And then, maybe Rozier stays and Duncan shoots down. Cade does a beautiful job getting the wraparound pass there. Now we're within 2 if you're a Pistons fan. Hero misses. Another grab and go by Cade. And he just finds Tim Hardaway Jr. So what is Cade looking at here? You can literally see Duncan Robinson pointing it out. Duncan's pointing out in transition. They've got 1, 2 guys here. And in particular, that one guy is the guy that's drilled 2 threes recently, and he's out ahead of Jimmy Butler. So Rozier, I think he's yelling for Rozier to go get Tim Hardaway Jr. Rozier is just a split second late. Literally, you can see Duncan's arm there. His back is turned toward where the ball is going to go. Cade knows that he's got this one. It ends up being a wide open, leaning 3, but still a wide open 3. And that's the one that ended up winning the game for the Pistons. Pistons end up winning 125-124. Actually, no, Cade makes one at the end here. That's right. So 2 things here. These are the only 2 kind of buckets I'm going to show from Cade. First and foremost, I grabbed the one at the end of regulation where he gets fouled. Heat, I think, make a 3. Let me look through just to jog my memory here. I want to look through my notes. Yeah, Hero drills like a crazy 3 or whatever after Cade makes both of these free throws. But the reason that I grabbed this one, switch, Hero gets beat. And you can just already see how this is developing before Cade even gets beyond the 3-point line. Even like at the mesh point of the screen, look at how far Drew Smith is playing off of Asar Thompson here. The whole time that they're just playing this for this to be a double. And Smith is just a little bit late, and it's a blocking foul, and it's the right call. But this is just a pure double here. If the Pistons are going to have Asar Thompson or Ron Holland in games, in these important moments, in these late game moments, it can't just be standing in the corner. I love what Asar Thompson did tonight. I don't blame this on him. This is a JB Bickerstaff offensive scheme situation. You can't just have Asar in the corner if he's going to play in these late game moments. Can't just stand there. Foul. Right call to me. And then this one, Cade, 44 seconds left in overtime. I put this on here. Jimmy Butler had to reattach his shoe to his body. Cade recognizes it, knows that they've got 4 defenders. He just gets that little mismatch here. Hero does a good job fighting through the screen, but because Jimmy isn't there to guard Cade at the end, Hero is the one that has to take the ball. And look, like shit happens. I'm not blaming Jimmy. Your shoes fall off. You have to go put them back on, right? But because that shoe fell off, Cade was able to get all the way to the rim here. And he just beats Rozier to the basket, and Rozier does a great job of sealing off Bam from being able to contest the shot. And that's your ball game. Cade Cunningham, man. All-star. Guy's an all-star. Definitely the kind of guy you want to build around to me if you're a Pistons fan. It's not even a question in my mind. I believe his numbers are now up to like 23.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 9.7 assists. Shooting 45, 38, 80 this year. I can't imagine there are many players that have averaged that who have not gone on to be all-stars. To me, this year, as long as he's healthy and keeps doing this, Cade Cunningham should be an all-star in the Eastern Conference. He has been absolutely fantastic. Connor Mullally asks, what's the plan for building around him if you're the Pistons? I mean, they're doing it differently than I would. I probably wouldn't have drafted Asar Thompson and certainly wouldn't have drafted Ron Holland. Thompson's like a little bit more of a question mark to me just because I like the idea of having like a great defender there. But to me, it would be spacing and defense. Basically, it'd be exactly what the Mavericks have done with Luka. Would be the team building model. Not to say that Cade is as good as Luka, but that would be my exact kind of plan if I was running the Pistons. But, they're doing Ron Holland and Asar Thompson, both of whom can't really shoot. I understand the idea given the way that Dallas has had some non-shooters like Derek Jones. PJ Washington goes through hot and cold spurts, right? The problem is, though, that Jalen Duren, and this is more of a Duren problem than it is an Asar problem, an Iran problem. Jalen Duren is not a guy that I feel super comfortable with, like handling the ball at the top and being able to like run actions in the same way that Derek Lively can. So I will be interested to see how they go about the Jalen Duren kind of situation this summer when he's extension eligible. And at the deadline too, like there are options for them available that they could try and go get like a floor spacing center. Honestly, if I was them, I might try and go get somebody who can be like an expiring floor spacer. Like if the Hawks wanted to move Larry Nance, I might try to go get Larry Nance and play him at the 5 a little bit late in the year, if only to see Cade with like a real floor spacing big and see what that looks like. But I don't think that they're necessarily going to go down that road. They just are doing things differently, and that's okay. Maybe they're able to, figure out another avenue. There are a lot of different ways to make this work in the NBA. But if I was them, I'd be looking at the Mavericks model and what they've done around Luka. And by the way, look, I don't think Jaden Ivey is as good as Kyrie either, but I do think they have that little role settled. And maybe Jaden becomes like an all-star caliber player. I've really liked what I've seen from Jaden this year for the most part. So if I was the Pistons, that's how I would go about it personally.